The house on Blackwood Hill. The old house sat on a hill overlooking the town of Blackwood, a silent sentinel with a history of whispers and warnings. Everyone knew not to go near it. But for the Miller family, it was a dream come true. A steal of a price, acres of land, and a fresh start. Liam, the father, saw a grand restoration project. Sarah, his wife, saw a chance to escape the city. Their two kids, 10-year-old Lily and 16-year-old Ethan, saw a giant old place to explore. From the moment they moved in, the house felt alive, not in a cozy, welcoming way, but in a way that made the hairs on their arms stand up. The air was thick and heavy, and a low, persistent hum seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. It started with small things. Footsteps in the hall when no one was there. The faint sound of a baby's cry coming from a sealed-off nursery. A cold, damp spot on the wall that would never dry. Liam tried to laugh it off, blaming old pipes and settling foundations. But Sarah knew better. The house was watching them. She felt its eyes on her every time she walked down the long, dark hallway. The house had a way of preying on their vulnerabilities. For Liam, it was his guilt over a long-ago car accident that had left a friend in a wheelchair. At night, he would wake up to the sound of tires screeching and metal crunching, echoing from the empty garage. He would find himself paralyzed in bed, a cold hand on his shoulder, and a voice whispering, "You could have saved him." For Sarah, the house targeted her anxiety about her failing marriage. She began to see distorted reflections of herself in the antique mirrors, her face stretched and gaunt with a smile that was not her own. The house would whisper to her in the form of Liam's voice, telling her she was a failure, that he had never loved her, and that she was a disappointment. The children were the most susceptible. Lily, a sweet, imaginative girl, started talking to an invisible friend she called Miss Juniper. Miss Juniper was the house's latest incarnation, a spectral playmate who would sit with Lily at the dinner table and whisper secrets in her ear. One night, a horrified Sarah found Lily in the cellar, a noose tied from a rope to a pipe, Miss Juniper urging her to play a fun game. Ethan, the older, more cynical brother, was tormented in a different way. The house exploited his deepest fear, being a bad older brother. He would hear Lily screaming, terrified, from an unseen part of the house, and no matter where he ran, the screams would always be from a different direction. It was a game of cat and mouse, the house playing him like a puppet, driving him to the edge of his sanity. The family began to fall apart. They stopped eating dinner together. Liam spent his days frantically renovating, tearing into walls as if he could rip the house's secrets out. Sarah retreated into herself, staring at her own vacant reflection. The children, once so full of life, became pale, hollow-eyed shells of themselves. One night, a power outage plunged the house into complete darkness. Liam, Sarah, and the children were all in separate rooms, isolated, each being tormented by their own private terror. Liam heard the screeching tires and his friends' pained screams. Sarah saw her distorted reflection, its mouth moving in silent laughter. Ethan heard Lily's blood-curdling scream. This time it sounded like it was coming from the walls. That's when they all saw it. A light. A single, pulsing red light, like a beating heart, seeping from the walls. The house was alive. It wasn't just haunting them. It was feeding on their fear and despair, growing stronger with every tremor of their souls. Liam, driven by a primal need to protect his family, grabbed a sledgehammer and began to smash the wall where the light was coming from. The house screamed, a loud, ear-piercing shriek that was a mix of a baby's cry and a woman's wail. As he broke through the plaster, he saw not a room, but a pulsating, fleshy mass, a web of veins and sinew, an organic heart beating within the walls of the house. The house fought back. The temperature in the room plummeted. The walls began to bleed. But Liam kept swinging, fueled by a rage he didn't know he had. As he struck the final shattering blow to the pulsating heart, the house let out a final agonizing scream. The red light vanished. The humming stopped. A wave of clean, fresh air swept through the house, carrying the cold and the fear away with it. The family ran to each other, huddled together, sobbing in relief. They had won. They had defeated the house. They packed up their car that same night and never looked back. But as they drove away, looking in the rearview mirror, they saw it. The house on Blackwood Hill, still standing, silent and empty. But the pulsating red light was no longer within the walls. It was in the rearview mirror, growing brighter, beating in time with their own hearts. They had left the house, but the house hadn't left them. It had become a part of them,